everybody. I'm so excited to be here and honored to be talking to all of you rock stars. And what Nicole just said about the book, I mean, really, my whole reason for wanting to write a book was not to sell books. It was to share my message because I feel that it can help so many people. I have no intention of talking about my book, but what I wanted to talk about today is how I, as a child, was just riddled with fear and anxiety. I was a scared little kid. I was shy. I didn't talk. I was just afraid that the people I loved were going to die and I was going to die and everything horrible was going to happen. At the same time, I had this incredible imagination. And I had these incredible dreams coming true in my mind. And it was just brought me so much joy. But then I started getting sad because I'm like, do these dreams, are they only going to take place in my imagination? Are these ever going to be mine? Can I ever make these come true? But the fact that I was so paralyzed by my fear and my anxiety and my insecurity, it was looking as though I would never be able to do anything great with my life because this was going to hold me back. And a few things happened. How many of you have had some horrible struggle in your life? I know we all have had them. We all do. But out of that struggle came one of the greatest gifts in your life. How many people? Nearly everyone here. And this is the amazing thing about life, is that everything that happens, depending on what we focus on when it's happening and the meaning that we give it, that's going to determine our whole experience of what's happening in our lives. And what I found is that through my most horrible moments, those toughest times where fear is staring me down and telling me to go hide behind the couch and curl up in a ball and just hope that it passes, that's our mind speaking. Our minds are here to protect us. They want to protect us from pain. They want to protect us from disappointment. They want to protect us from failing. And so it's not that it's trying to do something bad to us, but it's not the kind of voice that we should listen to in our lives. We're not going to get anywhere in our lives if we always succumb to fears warning us to just stop in our tracks and forget it and go back home, get under the sheets, and hide. And when I discovered this, I started thinking about how lucky I was. First of all, I thought, how amazing are we as human beings? We've got this beating heart that we just got for free. We didn't have to pay for it. We didn't have to ask for it, mail away, set up an auto draw every month. We got given this as a gift. And basically, we can do anything that we want in our lives. It's up to us, and it's up to us saying, you know what, fear, step aside. You can come with me, and I'll dance with you, and I'll bring you along for the ride, but I'm not going to know anything about what I'm capable of in my life if I don't take that step forward and barrel through that fear and push it aside or bring it with me, but say, I'm going to do it anyway. Because I tell you what, the circumstances or the consequences of succumbing to fear and just going back into your little corner and hiding are so much worse than the consequences if you go for it, try hard, and fail. Because I don't see failure as failing. I see failing as learning. It's when we fail, it's when we fall, that I see it as an opportunity. We figure out what we're made of. We figure out how we can be better. We figure out how strong we are because we can get back up again and try again. So when we fail, we're being given a gift. And if you don't take that step and move fear aside, you're never going to give yourself the opportunity to learn and to grow. And in life, truly, and the great Tony Robbins, who some of you know, one of my greatest mentors, he always says, growth leads to progress. Progress is happiness. When we're progressing in any way, whether we're making a big career move or we're, winning something we wanted to win, or even just working through a problem and getting one step closer to solving it. Progress is what leads to happiness. And if we're sitting still and we're hiding because we're afraid to fail, which inevitably is that we're afraid to lose the love of the people around us, we're afraid to lose their respect, and that's where this fear of failure comes from. But you have to be progressing, and we progress. I know with my athletes, I tell my athletes all the time, when they have a bad race, it's usually because they really need it to catapult them to the next level. And most of the time, they're miserable because they didn't get the result they were looking for. But when they look at it as an opportunity to learn and an opportunity to grow, they always come back stronger than they ever were. And I have a lot of stories in here about the tough times that in the end presented the most beautiful gifts. But I thought of one today, and I'm just going to share it with you because I was thinking about it today. I'm a triathlon coach, and I have an athlete who is now a 4-time world champion. An amazing human being, an amazing athlete. And we had been working together for 6 years. And we worked, I had just put my heart and soul into this athlete, everything I had. And we had some amazing results. She won a 70.3 world championship, and then we won the Ironman world championship. But then we had a year, and this was probably year 6, where we went off to the world championships, and she came in second. And at that point, something inside of her said, I'm not getting what I need anymore. And she decided to leave. And my heart broke in a million pieces. This was kind of like, I don't know how to describe it, but almost like a kid that you're helping, bringing them up, and you're so proud because they're reaching all new levels and they're becoming this amazing person. But she just leaves. She said, I'm not getting what I'm looking for. I need to go somewhere else. The hardest part about that, and there's definitely ego involved. Don't get me wrong, we all have ego. I feel like I don't have a big ego, but I was really crushed because I thought she doesn't realize that I played a part in her success. And I started believing that because she left. So that must mean maybe it was all her. Maybe she was just this amazing athlete that was so incredible that I was just kind of there, but I had nothing to do with her getting to where she was. So I could have chosen at that point to just be down and dejected and think I suck and maybe I'll go do something else. But in my depression, and this was a big low for me. When it's your life and you've literally put your heart and soul into something, it feels like the end of the world. But I decided now is a perfect opportunity for me to find out how good I am as a coach. What if I can prove how important I am in an athlete's progression by proving it with someone else? Let Rinny, but everybody knows. Let Rinny do. Hi, Rinny. Yeah. Don't worry, we talk about this all the time. Let her go figure out what she needs to, but it seems to me like this is a perfect opportunity for me to figure out what I'm made of. And I've been presented with this challenge many times, and I've been scared to death, but I decided I'm going to do it anyway, because I'm not going to get anywhere sitting still. So I had this new athlete come to me, an older athlete, and everybody was saying, she's done, don't put your time into her, she's old and done. And I just had this feeling, all she wanted was to win Kona. And, which is it's almost scary to say that because it's like, whoa, that's a big ask. But she really wanted it. And I, at this point, wanted it more than anything in the world because this was my whole respect for myself depended on this. My whole meaning for the last 7 years as far as my job depended on me proving to me that I had what it took to help someone achieve something phenomenal. So I just turned my focus onto Leanda, this new athlete of mine, who she had won a short course world championship, kind of a different sport because totally different distance, but I believed in her and she wanted it. And we got on the same team. She trusted in everything I was saying. I decided I am not going to let doubt into the picture. I'm going to just believe in what I do. And again, it's all about, what are you focusing on? Are you going to focus on what you want, or are you going to focus on what you don't want? Sounds pretty simple to me. We should always focus on what we want, because where focus goes, energy flows. You're worried about failing, you can't think about anything else but failing, I'm sorry, but you're going to probably fail. If I'm thinking, I'm going to be the best that I can be, and I'm going to throw everything I have into this, and I'm going to make great things happen with this athlete, and I'm saying that to myself over and over and over again, that's very likely to happen. Think about what your thoughts are, because you truly are creating your destiny with how you think. And there's no excuse to let yourself think these horrible thoughts, because it's going to take you down a road you don't want to go. So I put my heart and soul into this athlete. I decided I'm going to stop feeling sorry for myself. Long story short, because this could go on forever, we went to Kona, and in this race, Rinny's the best runner in the sport, bar none. And anytime Rinny catches someone at the front of the race, that person's done. Rinny's on her way to win. Very proud of her. She's the most incredible athlete and human being I know. Not that I know, but one of them, because my wife's in the room. So we're out there, and I happen to be at mile 18. I just happen to be at the exact point where Rinny catches Leanda. And I'm like, great, right in front of my face. But I just bring myself into where I need to be, and I look Leanda in the eyes, and I said, you know what to do. And off they went. And they go into this thing called the Energy Lab, where nobody can go, no spectators can go. The athletes are left, and it's hot and humid and gnarly, and people die in there, almost. Like seriously, they truly almost die. And it's 3 miles or 2.5 miles, so I'm waiting. And they come up this hill, and I'm standing at the top of the hill, and I'm just waiting, and I'm probably peeing my pants, because I do that when I get excited. Do you have skirts with diapers, by the way?
We have a skirt with a gotta go.
Okay, awesome. We'll talk about that later. That might be my choice. So I'm just pacing. I'm at the top of the hill, and I'm pacing, and I see this figure coming up the hill, and it's just one, not two. But I know what Rinny looks like. I mean, I've been coaching her for 5-6 years, and it's this tall, lanky woman coming in. I'm like, holy it's Leanda! And I'm freaking out. Like literally, I still feel it today. That feeling of, holy shit, she dropped Rinny. A little bittersweet too, a little bit hard, because I loved Rinny. And there was one more person to pass, but I somehow knew that she was definitely going to catch the next one, because that was the greatest victory. No one had ever dropped Rinny, and I was just beside myself. But Leanda Cave finishes a race, wins world champion. She had won the 70.3 world championship that year and the Ironman world championship. And we did that together. No one believed that she could. I'm not saying it was me. It's totally like all her, but I played a very important role. And what that did for me, as not just as a coach, but as a human being, I could have given up on myself when Rinny left and said, yeah, she's right. I had nothing to do with her success. I was just lucky to get a great athlete. And I could have decided to carry that with me the rest of my life, but I refused to settle for that. I wanted to set a new standard for myself and decide that I'm going to prove to myself what I'm capable of, and I'm going to do this for me this time. Because this is so important. I have to live with me every second of every minute of every hour of every day for the rest of my life. I better like who I am. Because as a kid, I certainly didn't. It was hell living inside this body. It was torture. I wanted to run away, and I couldn't get away from myself. So we owe it to ourselves to step into the unknown and take a chance and strive for something that seems way beyond what we're capable of. Because we owe it to ourselves, because most of the time when you have a reason behind why this is important to you, you will make it happen. You will. And you've got to take that risk, you've got to take that chance, but you've got to decide it's okay to fail. That's where we learn, that's where we grow. So, gratitude was my word. I am so incredibly grateful for everything that's happened in my life. And now, when some struggle comes my way, and again, we all have them, some worse than others, but when struggle comes my way, I look at it instead of saying, oh, this is just going to destroy me and I'm so unlucky and oh, woe is me. There's a little bit of that. I'm human. But then it's like, you know what? Something amazing is going to come out of this. This is happening for a reason. I'm going to have a deeper relationship because of this. I'm going to reach a new level in my career because of this. There's always something wonderful that comes out of the struggle, and if you keep your mind on that, the struggle is so much easier to bear. So, one of the things about gratitude, it's a matter of always focusing on what you have, not on what you don't have. And when you do that, when you're in a state of feeling grateful or you're just feeling grateful, it's impossible to feel angry, to feel anxious, to feel depressed. It literally wipes out all of those disempowering feelings. So racing, for instance, I have athletes that work their butts off day after day after day after day, and then they step to the start line and they are paralyzed with fear. And I tell them, that fear, it's gonna be there. We all have it, but bring it along with you, and let's focus on the fact that you have done the work. You are doing this sport that you love so much, that you're passionate about, that gets you jumping out of bed every morning. And you get to come out here today and see how strong you can be, how fast you can be, and experience this amazing sport that you love, and celebrate you. Now, when they start getting in that space, it's so much of a more empowering feeling, or an empowering state, where they will be able to achieve so much more than they could in a state of fear. So always, everybody, step up in your own lives. Yes, it's scary, but the more times we give in to fear, those consequences later on, lesser relationships, settling for a situation or a job that's way below what you're capable of, friendships that aren't deep because you don't give all of yourself, the consequences are really severe in the long run. Whereas when you just say, there are kids in the room, F it, I'm just gonna do it anyway. You know, like, that's empowering. First of all, you're showing you've got the courage to just step forward and make it happen. And yes, you may fall, but if you know why this is important to you and why it's important to find more strength and more courage and more belief in yourself, if you understand why that's important, no matter how many times you fall, you're going to keep trying. You're just going to find different ways to go about it. And one day, you will succeed. There's no doubt in my mind, we always succeed. So always, always say yes. Because saying no is just, there's too many negative consequences. So when I talk about gratitude, wiping out all those feelings or emotions or states such as fear, anger. Okay, we can get angry if, this race isn't going my way. Darn it, my world championship win, when I became a world champion in 2001, I was near last out of the water. Now in ITU racing, draft legal racing, if you're not out in the front pack, your race is, everyone says, oh, your race is over. So I got out near last, and I decided, you know what? I'm here, I'm just gonna put my head down. I really just wanted to have a good workout, but at least it kept me going. I'm like, I'm just gonna put my head down and hammer. And I get down and I'm just driving it. And I suddenly reached the third pack, and I suddenly reached the second pack, and I'm driving. And people are like, oh, you're stupid, you're riding so hard. I'm like, I got nothing to lose. I'm like all the way back here. Driving. And I get to the front pack. And I'm like, oh, like we're just about to finish the bike ride and I'm at the front of the race. And it was like, wow. Like I could have just said my race is over, because if you're out of the water last, your race is over. Well, who says it is? I wasn't going to accept that. And I remember McKeely Jones turned to me, sorry McKeely if you're watching this, I doubt she is, but anyhow. All respect McKeely. She looks at me and she's like, well, that was stupid. You just wasted yourself getting all the way up here. And I just turned to her and I took a deep breath and I said, ready to run? And then I was like, oh shit, I better be able to run off of this thing. I was like freaking out. But then it was like, I stepped up. I decided this is what I'm gonna do. And I got off and I was so buoyed by this excitement and just almost like for the first time this pride that I didn't give up. Because I normally maybe, I don't know, I probably had given up in a situation like that. But this time I didn't. And God, it felt good. God, it felt good to step back up and be out there fighting. And the energy it gave me, it was unbelievable. I remember I got a water bottle. There was a trash can like where you're standing. What's your name? Julie. Where Julie's standing, there's a trash can, and I'm running. I'm like, just spit everywhere and sweat everywhere, and God knows what's happening with the bathing suit. And I grab the water, and I'm running, and I go, fling. And it falls in the basket, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like really gonna be a good day. So suddenly it's gone from like the worst start ever to I ended up winning the world championship. Now, how easy could it have been for me to say, my race is over. I'll just cruise around the course and be depressed. So it's the choices we make. And a lot of times in life, it's when you least expect something amazing to happen that it does. But if you don't hang in there long enough to find out, you'll never know. So, why the word gratitude? I live my life in gratitude because I feel so overwhelmingly grateful all the time. Because if I look back to me as a child, I truly didn't think I had a lot of hope for finding joy, for being good at anything, and most importantly, for feeling safe in my own skin. And that is the greatest gift in the world. And everything that we go through in life, if you come to it and look at it and define it from a place of gratitude, you will find that you can create the most extraordinary life you could ever dream of. Good times and bad. So that's my word, and I want to say, Nicole, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Again, I didn't write this book to sell it. I wrote this book because I know I'm not alone. I hope I'm not. Am I alone? I know I'm not alone. And I know that some people think, God, you know, I had severe obsessive compulsive disorder. It made me feel like a freak. But I cured that. I was like, I'm not that crazy person. I'm sick of this. I'm not getting anywhere like that. And I decided no more. I know there are people that can relate to things in here. And if I can help you find the peace that I did, my life is complete. So thank you for sharing the book. And thank you for listening to me tonight. You're all amazing, and I appreciate you not falling asleep, because I probably talked, was that more than 10 minutes? Was that more than 10 minutes? You know, I wrote out a speech and I said nothing that was on it. It's
You
in my
wrote out a
pocket.
speech? Awesome.
No, but I didn't.
Oh.
But I didn't say anything that was on that paper. I don't even know why I bothered. So thank you, everybody, and let's all just be rock stars and use our superpowers and step into the unknown and make shit happen.